I'm musician and producer Gary Hiebner, and today in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Sequoia's source destination cut feature. With this, it allows you to have an efficient workflow where you can choose source targets and destination targets, and then you can choose the best segments to build up a composite edit of your performance. So in this video, let's see how we can set it up and how we can use this feature. So over here, I've got a string section on this track. So I'll just play this back. That's the one theme. I can click over here. Then the next theme over here. And then this theme over here. Now I want to build up a new edit where I create the best segments over here and build them onto a new destination track. And to do this, you need two tracks. So first I've got this main track over here and I need to set this to the source track. You can do this by clicking over here and choosing source. Then on the second track, I'm going to choose this as the destination track. Now I can use a 4-point editing system to create in points and out points and place them on the destination track. So what I like to do is create shortcuts for these on the toolbar. So I can right click over here, say edit toolbar, and then this is the endpoint. So I'm just going to drag that there. This is the out point for the source track. And then over here, these are the endpoints and out points for the destination tracks. So I'll place that over here. And then the last thing I want to add is the source destination cut mode. Now I'll show you that in a bit. So I'm going to close this down. I've got these two tracks over here. Now, if I click on this is the source destination cut mode. It creates a new mode for me over here where the source track is on the bottom and the destination track is over here. So it's a split view. Now I can go in and create my endpoints and out points on the source track. So I want to place my first endpoint over here. So I'll use a shortcut on this toolbar. So I'll click that. That creates the in source point. And then over here, I'll just drag a little bit down over here and create the out point. Now, on my destination track, here is where I want to add the endpoint for the destination, which is this point over here. So I've created that. Then if I go to edit and then down to source destination cut, you see you've got your insert options. So insert is F9. Now if I click that, it places that segment on my destination track. Now let's choose another section. So I want to go for this over here. So I'm going to place my cursor there. I can use the shortcut over here, or I can use shortcut Control Home. So that's going to place that there. And then I'm going to put my cursor here and do Control End to do the out point. And then my endpoint destination is over there, and I can hit F9 and it places that segment there. One thing I want to point out is that when you insert an object onto the destination track, it creates a crossfade between the two objects. For example, over here on my source track, you can see I got the in and out points. And then over here on the destination track, I'm just going to move the cursor over here and change that endpoint destination. Then I'm going to hit F9, and you can see it creates this crossfade right over here. Now you'll see this more clearly if I place my cursor here and just create some splits in the parts. If I just click off that, these orange sections are crossfades. And if I just go over here and I zoom up, there is the crossfade. So this just helps smooth out the transition between two objects. If I hover over the bottom section over here, I can actually change where that overlap is. And likewise, if I go to the top over here, I can change the size of that crossfade. Now, I'm going to get into the Crossfade Editor a bit later in this video, but I just want to show you what happens here when you insert objects onto each other on the destination track. Now, what if I want to take a different section? For example, this section over here, I'm just going to create the endpoints and out points. And I want to place it in between these over here. So then I can create a new destination endpoint. And instead, I'm going to go to source destination cut, and I'm going to do insert with ripple, which is F10. So as you can see, it did a ripple edit there, where it took that section and placed it in between those two. Now, finally, I just want to add in this beginning section in the end. So I'll go over here. This is going to be my destination endpoint. I'm going to create my endpoint and out point for the source, and then just hit F9. And now I've built up a composite edit on my destination track. Now, if I go over here and click on this source destination cut mode, it removes that, it mutes the source track and only has the destination track playing back. So now I can play back. And here are my new edits on the destination track. So you can think of your source tracks as a media store and then your destination track as the edit area. Now it works slightly different if you're using a multi-track project. So for example, over here, I've got the same string section, but it's broken down into 5 tracks. So I've got violins 1, violins 2, violas, cello, and basses. So when you need to set this up, you first need to set up how many source tracks and destination tracks you're going to be using. So I've got 5 over here. So I'm just going to select those tracks. Then I'm going to click over here and go to source destination track number. And I'm going to set the track number to 5. So that means I'm going to have 5 source tracks. Then I can click over here, choose source. Now you see that those are all designated as source tracks. Then over here, I've got the 5 extra tracks that are going to be the destination tracks. And I've just changed the name with a D in the beginning. So I'm going to select these tracks, go over here, click on destination, and now I've got 5 destination tracks and 5 source tracks. And then if I click over onto the source destination mode over here, you can see that it's broken it up, and I can just click and expand the waveform view here by clicking Control and up. So I can see my waveforms. I'm going to do the same steps where I select sections and then add them to the destination track. So over here, I'm going to place my in point for my source track, then the out point for my source track. Over here in the beginning is going to be where I want to put my in point for the destination. Then I'll hit F9, it places it there. I can do the same thing with Control up to see the waveforms. Then let's do another selection over here. So I'm just going to click down here, do my in points and out points for the source, then go to the destination, hit F9, and it places it there. So it's the same steps. You just need to make sure that when you're setting up multiple tracks that you click over here and set the track number before changing the track to a source or destination. Another powerful feature in Sequoia is being able to work between multiple projects, and you can do the same using the source destination cut mode and use it between multiple projects. So for example, over here you can see I've got 3 projects. Let's say I'm in my first project here, I place my source in point there and I paste that section in there. But let's say I want to do a different edit. Well, then I can go to my second project over here. You can see that it's blank, but I can use selections that I've made over here. So let's say I make a selection here for the in point and out point. So that has done the selection on the source track. I can jump across to another project, create a destination endpoint, and then insert it over there. Now let's say I want to do something else different on the third project. So going across back to my original project, let's say maybe I want to select these first 3 themes over here. So I've selected them over there. Then I'm going to go across to my third project, place my destination endpoint, insert that there. But then let's say in between over here, I want to insert another theme. So I can go back over here. Let's say I want to insert just this end section of the last theme over here. So I've got that selection. I can jump back to this project. Then instead of using insert, I'm going to use the insert with ripple. So I'm just going to make a destination endpoint and then press F10. And then it inserts there and pushes everything across. So when I zoom out, I've got 3 different edits over here. I've got the edits over here, this in the new project, and then in this, the third project. So that's the beauty of working between multiple projects where you can use the source destination cut mode and paste and insert between different projects. Now let me show you one more example. Over here, I've got a multi-mic drum performance. I've got the player to play out a drum groove, and then I've also asked them to play some drum fills. Now I want to take some of those fills and place them into the performance. So over here, I've got 5 tracks. I've also created an additional 5 tracks, and as you can see, they've been set up as source tracks and destination tracks. So I'm going to hop over onto the source destination mode. Over here, I can play back the drum groove so you can hear what it sounds like. Now I've got a drum fill over here that I've marked out by cutting out that section. Then here are the fills. Another one over here. Third fill. And then the last fill. So first off, I want to copy this groove to my destination. So I'm going to create a source input and then a source output. Then I want to place it over here on the destination tracks. So that is the drum groove. Now I want to go over here to bar 21, and I just want to make sure that I zoom up into that section, make sure that I'm right there on bar 21, create an in point and then an out point over there. So that's that drum groove. Then going over here onto the source destination track, just making sure I'm in the right section. And then I'm going to place an endpoint for the destination, and then I'm going to hit F9, and it's going to replace that drum fill with the new fill. So if I just go over here and just zoom out and play back, so that has placed that fill in there for me. All I need to do now is just zoom up and edit some of the crossfades just to smooth things out. So I could go over here, right click on the overhead track, go to the Crossfade Editor. And what I find works really well is just to take these and extend that crossfade. So I've done that across the tracks, and let's just take a listen now to see if that sounds a bit more smoother. So that is how you can use the Crossfade tool as well with these destination tracks, just to smooth out any placements that you've added into the edit. And the Crossfade Editor is a real powerful tool in Sequoia. So over here, you've got these two objects. You can change the overlay, or you can change the shape of the fades. But if you right click on the fade over here and go to Crossfade Editor, or use the shortcut Shift F, this brings up the Crossfade Editor for you. And over here, what's really powerful is the precision that you have with this tool. So starting out over here, you can change the placement of the fade in and fade out. And this is just nudging them. You can change the nudge amount. So maybe you want to go down to 100 milliseconds, or you can make it even 10 milliseconds. So changing that nudge value, or you can just go up over here and drag over here to change that nudge value. And what you would have also noticed is that these are linked. So if you click over here, it unlinks them, and you can change the fade for each side over here. So we got way more control over the fade going over the fade out and the fade in. So this is the length. So I've unlinked them. I can change the length of each one. Then over here is the overlap, so I can change the overlap of the crossfades. And then here is the shape. So I can change the shape by dragging up and down on these faders over here, or even just going up over here, you can drag and change those shapes. And as you're dragging and changing them, you're seeing how this waveform updates as well. Now, a feature that I also really like in the Crossfade Editor is these snapshots. So here you can save snapshots of different fades that you've created. You can just right click on it and say Save Snapshot. Then I can click over to Snapshot 2, do some adjustments, maybe change that overlay, change the shapes. Then I can right click on Snapshot 2 and say Save Snapshot. So now I have the ability to jump between the two and hear the differences between the two snapshots that I've created for the crossfades. So that's a quick little introduction on how powerful this Crossfade Editor tool is. So that's how you can use Sequoia's source and destination cut mode. As you can see, it's a really efficient way of working with choosing the best segments within a performance and then pushing them to a destination track. If you're a Sequoia user already, then definitely try out this feature set and see how it works with your workflow. If you haven't used Sequoia, there is a free 15-day trial that you can use if you go to the Boris FX website. Also, Sequoia is included in the Boris FX suite, which is a monthly and annual subscription that you can sign up for. So there's many ways to get into Sequoia. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Gary Hiebner from Boris FX. Thanks for watching.